from Simon Johnson, Chelsea correspondent of The Athletic, that said Enzo Maresca had almost a full week to work on things in training to generate a better performance and game plan. But it was an even bigger disappointment. Do you agree with that, Elijah? Was it worse than the FA Cup performance? And if so, why?
I agree, Terry, because that performance tonight has got to be one of the most embarrassing, disgraceful, disgusting performance ever this season. 0 shots on target throughout the whole game. 0. We have 1 week, of us getting back to have a better performance from last week. But what does Maresca do? Makes it worse. Makes it worse. And you know the crazy thing is, Terry? Another injury. First is Jackson. Now, is Madueke. Muscular injury.
Yeah.
4 attackers we've got left. Palmer, Nkunku, Neto, and Sancho. If one of them gets injured, then that means our squad is getting weaker and weaker and weaker. I tell you, every player out there today should be ashamed of themselves, including Maresca. Because what was that performance today?
I agree.
And people will tell me, oh, we dominated. Yes, we dominated, but what do we do after that? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. The defending for all 3 goals was embarrassing. The first goal, Chalobah, once again, just like Holland, letting Matoma, not make you like that and score the goal. The second goal, Yankuba scored the goal. Like, it was good for Jorgensen who made that save, but where was our defense? Nowhere near to be seen. Nowhere. Then the third goal, Levi Cole once again giving the ball away, just like he did against West Ham. Like, what is this? Cole is supposed to be a good defender, but this season, he has been worse. He has been worse. And Chalobah, I mean, I'm happy that he came back, but I've got to admit, in the last few games, other than the Wolves game, he has been shocking. He has been shocking. But I did say, I like Chalobah coming back, but we need experienced defenders. We need the likes of Virgil van Dijk, Saliba, all of these players. We need that. Jadon Sancho come on and did nothing after that. Both our wingers did nothing again. Nkunku once again did nothing. I don't believe he had any shots in this game. Palmer, I don't know what's going on with this guy, but another disappointing performance. Caicedo, maybe it's only the few players that can deserve some praise because in the first half he did good, But I'd like to say this as well. The goal that we scored, for me, that's no foul. But even though that, Terry, we were terrible. Like, Brighton weren't that good tonight. But they don't have to be this good to beat us. Because teams are figure Maresca out. They're figuring him out already, just like they did against Leicester.
Yeah, and I've got to ask you, do you think part of that, because you do have some very good players, do you think a big part of this, Elijah, is Maresca's system being found out and him having no answer to the puzzle?
Yeah, because his tactics is, let's just play a back 3. Let's just so we can cross in and make sure that, if someone inside the penalty box. It's not working because this season is allowing us to have players trying to play from the back. And look at this, Terry. 11 errors leading to a goal this season. 11 since Levi Colwill made that terrible pass for the third goal. This system is not working. He needs to switch it up, adapt a little bit. But he has one style of play. And whenever and look at this, Terry, and last week he deserved the blame because he said yesterday that, I'm happy that we're out of the FA Cup because we can focus on the Conference League and the League Cup. And he's also saying that that the Champions League, our aim is to finish in 2 years, not 1 year. And I'm like, what are you saying? We are Chelsea Football Club, not Chelsea Banter Club. We're supposed to be a big club, but we're not it anymore. We're acting like a small club. You know why, Terry? The owners don't care. The sporting directors. I've been saying, I know I keep on saying it so many times, but I'm going to keep on saying it, until they hear this. Wayne Stanley, Lawrence Stewart, Clearlake, Barley, sell this club tonight. Yeah, tonight. Get rid, because you man don't care. You'll spend all this money and you sign no one. So guess what? If Gusto gets injured, we've only got one right back, Terry, and that is Reece James. And if he gets injured, that means we're going to be in trouble because we signed no one. The mentality is gone, Chelsea fans. Yeah, I've been saying it on my channel. This season is done. It's finished. We're not getting top 4. Yeah, and if we don't win the Conference League, it's going to get even worse. But the mentality is gone. Like, seriously, Terry, I'm done with this football club. I'm done with the owners. I'm done with everything. And if people and all these people that tell me trust the process, you deserve this, not me. Because this process gets you nowhere. The project has failed. Everything has failed. We're no longer a big club anymore. And I'm being honest. And nothing will change until these owners leave this club immediately tonight. Fucking fuming, man.
Listen, I try not to, because I try to be as unbiased as I can. But you in that last 6 minutes, you nearly had me 2 or 3 times. It's some of your ranting. And bruv, listen, but I hear the pain. And I think what you said at the end there about mentality is so important. That was one of my biggest thoughts watching the game, was now that you're in this bad form, where are the Chelsea players that are going to help? As much as the manager's system might need a tweak and some new ideas, who are the players that can pick you up from the ground, that can grab the game by the scruff of the neck? They're all young, so I'm not necessarily blaming them. But then I look at the squad building. Who are the players? Who are your leaders? Because you're always going to go through these moments. And you started the season quite well, which meant maybe some of the scars of last season and the year before weren't showing up. But I think you're going through this period, especially for the players that have been there a season or two, or definitely since the sort of Clearlake have been there. There's almost this element of they understand how bad it can get, and they're almost playing like that. That you can almost see sort of the PTSD, if you will, sort of seeping through them. The mentality of your club, again, that's one of the biggest things for you to fix, because Chelsea, for me, for the best part of 2 decades, had one of the best mentalities in England. They were never beat. They were never beat. Well, they obviously lost games, but they never behaved like they were beat in the vast majority of games. So you're spot on there, Elijah. You really are. I'm going to go to Nick. Nick's been waiting a while. What are you saying, Nick?
I think where I disagree with the lad before me is I think these owners actually do want to win. I think the problem is with them is they don't know how to, I don't trust them to go about what they're doing. I mean, they've spent a lot of money. They're not spending in the right places. We've spent almost 200 million on centre-backs over the last few years, and none of them are really good enough. I don't get why we signed Badiashile. I don't know why we decided on Disastrous. Fana's been injury-prone. We've spent so much money on, like, it's the little things like this. We need to strengthen that defence. We need a leader in that back line. We need that Saliba. We need that Gabriel. We need that Van Dijk. Konate. We need that presence at the back. As you said, Terry, we need that leadership from the back. And as I said, I'm not convinced that's one of the main areas we need. And I just don't trust this ownership. I don't trust the sporting directors to make the right decisions and sign in the right players. I think that's one of the main problems at the moment. Is I think the owners do want to. They wouldn't buy the club for the amount they did and invest the amount they did if they didn't want to be successful. It's stupid. You're throwing money down the drain. I just think the way they're going about it is completely wrong, and the people they put in charge is part of this problem. But with Maresca, I think we need. I'm a bit worried for him because I think we need a tactical change, and I don't think he's going to do it. When Jackson, he hasn't been playing well for a while, but one thing Jackson does is he breaks the lines. He makes all these runs behind. And when Jackson plays well, our wingers play well. That's one thing we've seen over the last kind of 6 to 12 months. That is kind of consistent thing. Problem is at the moment, we haven't got that central we haven't got that central striker. And all our wingers, they want to dribble at players. They don't want to run behind. So right now you've got Cole Palmer and Nkunku dropping deep. You've got your wingers just sitting there trying to take people on. And you've got no one really trying to break the lines. And you haven't got them balls behind and that central figure to... And I think at the moment we're seeing the inverting of the fullbacks, which we've seen all season. But I think we need to kind of scrap that. And that's one thing I'd say change now, because we've got Kukurea who can overlap. We've got Reece James, who's one of the best overlappers in the world. I mean, I'm a bit worried about his legs, but yeah, that's another debate. But even Gusto, he said he can overlap. We've got the ability to do that. And I think that's one change we might need to see going forward. But as I said, I don't think he's going to change it because we haven't seen him. I mean, he's changed Jorgensen. That's about into Jorgensen, but I think that's the only thing we've really seen him actually change this season. It's been quite consistent. So I don't know. I'm a bit worried for the rest of the season now because I said I just don't really trust. But it's going to get fixed in the summer, and I don't know whether Maresca is going to make that tactical change and be able to get around this, because we saw this last season with Leicester. I mean, it's come in. I didn't really take too much of what I was hearing from Leicester fans on like TalkSport and sort of kind of word of mouth and stuff about obviously Maresca and that drop off he had, but we're seeing that now. So we'll see, but it's not kind of looking good now for the rest of the season. I think last time I was on, I said we need 10 out of 12 points. We've already lost the game. So that's already gone.
Yeah. No, listen, I hear you, mate. And I think, again, I'm not worried I'm a rival, but I am worried for Maresca. I know they're sort of the briefings are they're going to stick with him. They're going to stick with him. They're going to stick with him. The more they start saying that, the less I believe it. And that isn't a dig at Chelsea. Most football clubs do that. Most football clubs do it. And there's another tweet that got put out by someone called Sam Dean. I don't know who it is, but it rings true. It just said the most striking aspect of that Chelsea defeat, apart from Matoma's wonder goal, was how lightweight they looked. It felt like Brighton were stronger, faster, and smarter all over the pitch. A reminder that Chelsea paid 225 million in recent years for Brighton's best players and staff, and Brighton today looked the better team. And I think that those types of moments, and it won't just be Maresca, I know he's not from Brighton, those moments I think matter to ownership. I think those things matter to fans. Now, if you go now and imagine you go and buy Brighton's best 3 players and you take some of their staff upstairs because you love what they're doing, and then you play them a year or so later and they batter you twice in 2 weeks. Like any of our teams do that. That's going to create a problem upstairs, if that makes sense. So I do worry about him in terms of, is he going to be able to survive this? And then I think, well, what's next for Chelsea? Because he's on a 5-year deal. That would be a big payout, as an example, potentially. And no Champions League football. And I know Andrew's here, and we'll obviously speak to, there's 2 Andrews on now, Andrew Barnes and Winter Surfer. We'll call him Winter Surfer. It's easier that way. But me and him have had that conversation before. Chelsea were always going to be okay financially, but making the Champions League was an absolutely key component in that happening. So it's going to be a really interesting end to the season for Chelsea.
That's the thing as well, because even if we did, let's just say, for example, this downward spiral continues for the rest of the season and Maresca does get sacked, can we sit there and say off the track record of this new ownership that they're going to get someone else in to
agree
who's actually going to be able to step in? And I think the big problem at the moment, we've got inexperienced players with inexperienced managers, and it's just not kind of going well. But as you said there, like if we don't make Champions League this season, and as you said there, 5-year contract, if you sack Maresca, that's going to be a big payout because you've got to get rid of him, all the staff. And again, you've got all these players who are sitting there frustrated, they're not in Europe. And we could get ourselves in a hole. I mean, they've got us in this hole by spending that much money so quickly. And it's just, as I said, going forward, I think that's the one concern for me. I'm not on. There's no point really saying kind of Igbali, Todd Bowley, all of these, getting them out, because it's not going to happen. They're not going to sell up. They've spent all this money. Then they're just not going to sell. The only thing we could see is the Winstanleys, the Lawrence Stewart, all of these, the sporting directors, that we could see change. But again, going off what I've seen so far, is I don't trust them to necessarily make the right decisions, and it doesn't look like there's going to be any change anytime soon. So, but anyway, I've got to shoot off, so I appreciate having me on.
Cheers, Nick. Enjoy the rest of Valentine's night, mate.